Another quiet early morning for me. Today, the containers are going to get delivered out on the property, so I'm getting up early. Gonna go make sure that it's all passable. Meeting the shippers in Smithville to take them out to the property. So it's just a lot of early mornings to juggle a job and build a house at the same time. But these containers, I'm getting them a little early because with all the shortages, I didn't want to mess around. And the pricing varied very widely, like everywhere from 30 or 40,000 for a container with some doors cut into it to down to 4,000 for a wrecked one. So I, I, the pricing being so crazy, I just decided to put them out on the property now. Bastrop County doesn't have much permitting, so I could put them out there. But the one thing I have to get done, and I'll do an episode, I have to have a septic inspection. And before I start converting this into a house, I need to get the septic guys out there to start looking. I need to do the drawings. I need to do the drawings on the container home so people will understand what the septic looks like. And so, but once I have them out there, I can relax a little bit. They'll be out there. I wanted to get it before the rain started in the spring, because here in Texas it can rain you all, and it would rain me right out. So, but another early morning for me. But I'm looking forward to it. It ought to be an exciting moment. So, wish me well. There'll be more footage as I go along.
So this is just a mere, 20 days after I signed on the land. So I am moving super fast. This hairpin turn was one of the biggest concerns of mine. That is steel pipe fence there on the one side, and I worried I'd have to rebuild the fence on the other side. But what the shipper was able to do, Alfonso is his name, is move his rear tires up and change the pivot point for his trailer, and he was still able to bring in the 40-foot high cube. So that's significant operation. So that gate that he'll be driving through is a 16-foot standard of a metal frame gate. So everything here was tight and snug. Talking with Alfonso, he has been doing this for a very, very long time, and he's been in worse situations, certainly in Texas, people up on the hill. I'm east of Austin, which is more of a flat diluvian environment. Just west of it, there's the Edwards Escarpment, which is the hill country of Texas, runs from a little north of Dallas all the way down. So you can see the dents on the truck there. It has seen some things. Anyway, up in the hill country, he's had worse situations where the trailer could get snagged on a hill and he can't move it. So this is a high wind day, and that lends itself to some problems with the drone. You'll see that the drone just can't keep up. It gets knocked around and blown around a little bit. I'm trying to keep it stationary, and it's doing a pretty good job, but it's an ultralight little DJI. A week after this or so, they disabled the ability of that one to work on my phone and this network. I really like this little drone, but it didn't work. So this is Alfonso asking me about the two different paths to my property. One is an old road that's 100 years old underneath the hayfield, hard packed, and then he has this other option where he could go through a more direct route through the meadow. And I personally haven't ever done it, so he took a look at it and made a decision, command decision, and he's going to go ahead and head out over the 100-acre property, and then turn and go through the thickets there, and I'm going to go ahead and take the longer route and catch up to him as he's making the turns. So this little drone just got my idea was to have the drone follow him, and it's flying into like a 25 mile an hour wind, and it cannot keep up. I just gave up, and the battery, this particular, I brought out a couple of batteries. This particular battery, this day, just that's it. I mean, it could go up, but it couldn't keep up with the tractor. But off he goes, so over 100 acres to the build site. But There's a lot of tactical and logistic problems I'm running into with the speed of how fast I'm doing this particular build. Like I say, closing on the property. And there I catch it at the turn. Sorry for the background noise of the truck, but I catch it at the turn.
All righty.
All right. So Anselmo tells me it's pretty soft, but he thinks with the grass he can go ahead and get these on there. 8,000 pounds. He's setting up now. As soon as he has them, I'm going to go ahead and put in the piers and see if those support. We'll learn a lot today. All right, Anselmo. You think, are we good? All righty. All right, I got some line spray painted here, but he won't be able to see those. And he won't be able to square it up either. He'll have to come straight back in. Already stuck. That's not a good sign. Anselmo is inchworming that thing in here. We're not even going to get close. It's just way too soft. Way too soft. But I always figured I'd need a crane. Get this all the way done. See if we can get a little. That's how he inchworms it in. Move the bed from the truck. We don't want this truck to get stuck in there though. Out it goes, and then it hits a spot, and then he has me. Yeah. He blocks it up, pushes it back hydraulically, and then inchworms the truck back a little bit. Amazing. Soft. Well, my neighbor had to rescue me with the inches to spare. Inches to spare. It just all got broke loose in the mud as soon as we came through that surface. All right. I was woefully optimistic that these would keep these off the ground. Now I'm gonna have a hard time getting it up. Well, there's still some spots where it's up. All right. Taking a look here. Yeah, I got one side there, it's up. All right, John's here with his dozer to save me. So we decided to go ahead and square up. So we'll do a little video while that all squares up. All right. So what I was hoping.
Hey, so I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So I saw you wrote a book somewhat about the J.
Well, the ground got all torn up over there. Putting everything in. I'm sitting down taking a lunch break. Late one. No. Selmo will deliver the other container at 3. So we got that one shuffled over where he dropped it. But we did break through the surface. Once that happened, then we needed a bulldozer in here to move things around. This is sand in here, but once it gets in there, it's not for anything. Even my little truck got stuck. So borrowing that truck from a friend, I appreciate that. My little friend Leah let me borrow her truck. Well, tired.
You know, you have ambitions. 9 o'clock, drop it off, 45 minutes around, you know, and you always make one plan for the day. So I got here. Somebody invited me to go to lunch. And I said, no. I said, my job is to sit right here and get everything set up and staged. 1,000-year home. So there we go. I don't know how long these containers will last, but once I put some epoxy on that and then wrap it into aircrete, I guarantee you it'll last a while. So it'll outlast me at any rate. But once I get the other one in, you can kind of see the vision for the workshop. I'll be real happy with that. And 1,000 years. So these trees I'm slowly pruning back, all the ones that I need to. And I'll come in and put some dirt down on here. It's funny, the dirt will last for 1,000 years for sure. The gravel. All right, so I'll catch up to you when we're unloading the other one. I mean, this is hard work.
Here's an overhead view of the pull-off on the truck of the second container. Alfonso the shipper wouldn't even come down until we had the bulldozer already on the way. And indeed, we needed the bulldozer. We couldn't get the trailer off the back end of the truck. We even tried to chain it to one of those cedar trees, and the cedar tree was just not strong enough. Again, this is 8,000 pounds. So now, feel free to put down in the comments section any ideas you have for better handling ConExes. But notice it's just myself and the shipper and my kind neighbor helping me out. And part of the problem is the velocity of which I'm doing this build. So on the way there that morning, it was merely 3 weeks after I had closed on the property. I stopped and I tried to get railroad ties anywhere. Railroad ties are the right answer underneath these shipping containers when you drop them off like this. But man, I could not find railroad ties. I saw some of them alongside the railroad tracks waiting, and I could just imagine the felony it would be to stop and load up not free, but free illegal railroad ties. So, of course, I didn't do that. Instead, I stopped at the Home Depot that had 4x4s and deck piers. And that's what I had. I guess maybe bags of gravel would have been a better choice. I don't know what could have held under because these things are dropping off here. The first one dropped off probably 3 foot up in the air, as you saw, and then just jammed those piers right into the ground. So the ground has probably a 3,000 psi rating per square foot. And so these aren't going to sink in like quicksand, but definitely getting out of hand there. So you'll notice that I'm moving around and I'm putting 2 piers per section. The loads are actually carried on the front 2 pillars and the back 2 pillars, and the I-beams down the center don't actually carry loads, but I still wanted to catch those I-beams down the center to help distribute the load. At the end of this video, you'll see I've got another salute to it where I've got another camera running with stop motion. So you'll be able to see a different angle at the very end of this. But I am winded. You'll notice in some of the videos that I'm huffing and puffing. Well, indeed, I'm not a young man, and I'm a little overweight, but I'm telling you, I am moving. I'm doing camera work. I'm running around. The terrain, it looks fine when you look at it from a distance, but it is rough to walk on, rough. And so I'm really hustling to get this thing done. And there indeed is the final drop off for it. And then Alfonso will move the bed back into position.
All right, this is Steve of 1,000-Year Home. Looky, 2 containers. My daughter came out, visited me. She moved those all by herself, just with her bare arms. She's strong. So, all right, so this is the beginning of the workshop. And I have to get inspection for plumbing, so I'm calling a workshop for now. And I got high cubes, which give me the 9-foot ceilings. And I'm charging some solar lights to get solar in here. So they're both in the same place. There's 16 foot apart, or did I say 20 foot apart? 20 foot apart. 20 foot, and I'll run support beams down it. I'm going to log those right out of this lumber that you see around me. Every time I log a tree, I'm going to plant a right tree. I'm going to cut these cedars out of here. So these are the ones that I inspected. I got some, hopefully some drone footage and some other stuff that will make this a fun video for you to watch. This is Steve for 1,000 Year Homes, signing off on a hard day of work.
All right, there's the stop motion, another angle of the second container being dropped. You'll notice we take it out and teeter-totter it a little bit, so I'm able to get the piers under it better. Uh, and the the trailer itself can elevate up and down, so it helped control it. And it was a softer landing. This one's therefore farther up off the ground. Appreciate my neighbor coming in and visiting and saving me with his bulldozer. He'd offered it earlier, so I knew that that was available, and it was needed. Real heavy equipment was needed. So now I'm discussing with my daughter about the plans that I have for these containers. They're pretty much parallel to each other, 20 foot, 2, 3, 4 inches apart. And so my plan is to run a stairwell in between with a loft and living room. And just really excited about all of this. The wind is actually blowing my tripod around. Again, it's a 25-mile-an-hour wind out there right now. So I notice the camera is going in and out of focus as it's shaking the camera lens and the tripod. But able to get my flag up and secure, and what a great day it was.